to accept and to respond to words of wisdom. Shame. So today I want to share a brief lesson on the importance of taking care of your practice, or the nature of taking care of your practice, and how if you care for your practice and you tend to your practice and you give energy to your practice will take care of you. You develop a reciprocal relationship with your practice. And what I mean by taking care of your practice is that, like anything, you pay attention to it. You think about it. You you contemplate what it consists of. You think of, hey, what really goes into my practice? What is the practice made of? Right? You um, you kind of personify your practice. Say, well, what does my practice need? What kind of practice, you know, do I have in the sense of its? If I were to give my practice a personality type, what would it be like? And based on its personality type, what do I need to give it in order for it to really flourish? In order for it to really give me what I need? Do I need is oh, and let me back up. Let me give you the backstory, because I know I'm speaking in abstract terms. So when I was in college, I used to play the trumpet, and at one point I was hanging out with this guy. He was a Afro-Cuban Philharmonic musician, and he had given me some drills that the Cuban trumpeters use. And as you know, they have a great trumpet tradition. And so after he gave me these drills, a couple of days later, he asked me if I had done them, and I said, "Oh, I haven't gotten to it yet," or I had done half of it, or something like that. And he's like, "Oh, okay. Well, you'll never be a great trumpeter. You can't do what I gave you. It's never going to happen for you." The trumpet is a very demanding mistress, is what he said. Very finicky, very demanding, very, high maintenance, basically, is kind of what he was describing. And later on, I went on to talk to other trumpeters, and they described it very similar. And of course, that reminded me of earlier on when I was in high school. I ran track, and track and field is really demanding too. It's like you just don't get a lot of leeway. You got to be on it. You got to be on it. If you don't do certain things, it'll show. If you don't eat a certain way, it'll show. If you don't run a certain amount, it'll show. If you only run with a certain amount of intensity and enthusiasm, it'll show. Everything you do shows. And in track and field, it'll show in, like, seconds, or portions of seconds, right? Milliseconds, etc. And so different kinds of practices will put different kinds of demands on you. Every practice has its own personality type, where you can personify different kinds of practice. And Orisha lifestyle is a kind of a practice. And so I want you to, by this time, you have some time, some practice, some experience with understanding what works and what doesn't work. You can assess yourself at this point to say, I've put nothing in and I've got nothing out, or I've put a lot in and I've got a lot out, or I've put a lot in and I've gotten a little bit out. Whatever it is, you can honestly do the math on how much time and effort you've put into your practice of Orisha lifestyle, and you can see what you've gotten so far. And based on that, you can determine for yourself, hey, this is the nature of my practice. My practice of Orisha lifestyle is super high demand. I gotta really give it up every single day. I gotta be on it like several times a day. I gotta go to the place. I gotta talk to the people. I gotta do this. I gotta do that. It's like it's all consuming. Or, you know what? My practice is really hands off. I'm learning. All I have to do is put in, regular intervals and give it a specific kind of time frame, and I get the desired results. That's my practice. You need to look and be honest with yourself about what you're getting out of your practice and what you're putting into your practice. I know what kind of practice Odisha lifestyle is. I know, but I'm not gonna tell you because I know you know too. By now, you have enough experience to assess and determine what you're putting in, what you're getting out, and if one matches the other, if you're getting the results that you want, and if you're putting in the effort to bring that about. Okay. And part of the reason why I'm thinking of this is because I was reflecting on the Odu that were cast during our most recent live Ijosing, and there was actually a bit of carryover between the different readings that were done for different people for different reasons. But there was a consistent theme of methodology and matching your methodology, matching your environment, your methodology, and the outcomes. That was a consistent theme. Matching your environment, your methodology, and your outcomes. So the verses or the symbolism or combination of the verses and the symbols reinforce the importance of putting your practice into the proper environment, actually practicing a particular kind of methodology in order to get a specific set of outcomes. And if those things are consistent, then you can be real sure about what's going to happen. If they're inconsistent, then you're playing Russian roulette at that point, or maybe not Russian roulette. That's kind of deadly. But you're gambling basically. You're gambling. If you're not really sure about your environment, you're not really sure about your methodology, then maybe you'll get the outcomes and maybe you won't. And so I know that message is pertinent to us as a community because of the way it came through in the readings for the live Ijosing. So I want you to think about it very deeply. The message pertains to you. Yes, I'm talking to you, whoever you are and wherever you are in your practice. I'm talking to you. Look at the environment of your practice. Look at the methodology of your practice. Look at the outcomes of your practice, and ask yourself, am I getting the desired outcomes? Do I have desired outcomes? That's another subject, right? Everything that you're trying to accomplish is going to be, qualified by if you know what you're trying to do. But you can, no matter what, assess what's working and what's not working. And I can tell you that whatever the status of your practice is, if you take care of your practice will take care of you. Now, what do I mean by that? Once you recognize what your practice needs and you do whatever is necessary and you be whatever you need to be, right? That's a big part of it. You gotta is in order to accomplish the outcomes and your environment, your method, and the desired outcomes. You gotta be a certain way. You gotta embody a certain kind of energy. You gotta accept certain things. You gotta position yourself internally in a certain kind of way, right? And so once you're willing to be whatever is necessary in order for you to really do this thing, then I want you to understand what it means for your practice to take care of you. All right. So when I say your practice will take care of you, what I mean, number one, is that when you adjust internally, when you become a parent, for example, in order to be a good parent, you have to be patient. There's no way to be a good parent and not be patient, y'all. If you can't, right? So it's not just that you wake up and you do the, make breakfast and you do the laundry and you take Junior to school and you da da da. The doing is part of it. But in order to really do it the way it's supposed to be done and create the kind of experience with your child, you have to be patient. You have to. You have to accept that this is an exercise in everlasting patience. Okay? So, let's say a part of your practice is also going to require you to be patient. As you're able to embody that, accept that, and really exercise that, and be increasingly patient, want to be increasingly patient, Look for opportunities to increase your patience. Pray and meditate upon patience. Relish in the moment and the opportunity to get deeper and deeper and deeper in your patience. Once you get like that, patience is going to take care of you. Patience is going to prevent you from getting angry, or is going to allow you to bring your temper down if you do or when you do become angry. Patience is going to prevent you from making rash decisions and interrupting things that have taken you months and years, perhaps decades to build. Patience is going to take care of you by preserving your internal quality of life. So as you are practicing patience as part of mastering your practice, patience is going to give you all of those things, right? You have to be attentive to detail, for example. In order to master your practice, you're going to have to be attentive to details. As you are attentive to details, that's going to affect other aspects of your life. You're not going to miss as many steps in terms of managing your money, managing your paperwork, managing your communication with your friends and your family, balancing your work and life life. All kinds of other dimensions of your life are going to be impacted by your understanding that you have to be attentive to details. That's going to affect all other areas of your life. But you're going to get that from attending to your practice, taking care of your practice. Okay? As it pertains to activity, when I say taking care of your practice, and so it can take care of you, by doing things, for example, on a specific interval. You have your daily prayers according to the pattern of the calendar. You go in the proper sequence of the days of the week, and doing your ritual for your ose or whatever kind of daily ritual you have. Then you're also going through the proper ritual protocol. First you give this and then you give that. First you say this, then you say that. Then you gesture this way, then you gesture that way. And everything is done in a specific sequence. Right? That is going to, one, let me give you an example. I was clapping my hands there because let me tell you where I started to learn this lesson. As when you start to play the music for Orisha, and you want to really master the music, you start with the bell pattern, right? You have to learn the bell pattern first, because this is the key to all the music. This is telling you where the dance is. This is telling you where the song starts. This is telling you where the one is. This is what governs everything else, okay? So you learn to do the bell pattern and sing at the same time. You learn to do the bell pattern and dance at the same time. You learn to do the bell pattern and talk at the same time, all right? But as you do that, you also are learning to listen. So you know how all the different drums, because they're all playing different patterns as well, you know where they fit with the bell pattern. You know what it all sounds like. You know where ground zero is for everything else. Sonically, rhythmically, you know where everything else is positioned. By the bell pattern, you get the blueprint of everything that's going on in the music. Because the melody and the harmonies, that's not as important as the syncopation and being able to get into the pocket, right? So when you do things with a certain ritual protocol and you follow a certain sequence, what it does is that provides the bell pattern for life. So now you're able to position yourself in the pocket that's gonna dictate where everything else fits, and you can now listen to see where everything should go next. Oh, by organizing my life by this sequence of time, by saying this is where my week begins, now I'm able to see and attend to and observe where everything else, what's happening relative to the moon, what's happening relative to the water, what's happening relative to my work week, what's happening relative to the cycles and patterns of relationships and communication and emotions, etc. Excuse me. I hope I'm being clear. The ritual sequence functions like the bell pattern. The bell pattern gives you a point of reference for what is right, what is in time. If it is not in time with the bell pattern, it's not in time. The bell pattern is different from the just 1, 2, the steady beat. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Of course, you gotta know where the downbeat is, but the bell pattern is telling you something much more about the sound and the movement, right? Like I said, the sound and the movement are going off the bell pattern, which is gong, 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 on top of the one, right? So that is what the bell pattern is. Your weekly schedule. It is your daily schedule. What you do at 6 in the morning, what you do at 8 in the morning, what you do, all of that represents the bell pattern. That allows you to pay attention to how everything else is moving around that bell pattern. How is everything else moving around my daily ritual? Okay. Once I can do that, once I can determine what is the reality of time and space in my life, now I am at ease. My practice is giving me more ability to predict and to anticipate what's going to happen next. What's going to happen next? Oh, I missed that interval. I missed that cycle, but it's going to come back around in 1, 2, 3, and now I know where to get back on when I get off track, or when I see something else is off track. I know when, and perhaps I don't even know exactly when, but because I understand that there are patterns, I know that there will be another time for me to get back on track. Okay, so that's how the practice takes care of you. It gives you perspective on when to start, how fast to go, how far to the right you can pull, how far to the left you can pull, how much you can speed up, how much you can slow down, right? It gives you more confidence of space and time. All right, so those are just a couple of examples that I want to give you about the importance of caring for your practice, so that your practice can care for you. It will help you be a certain way internally. It will help you to act a certain way externally. And being able to be a certain way and act a certain way will then give you more confidence and more authority in taking advantage of all the spontaneity of life. Because in between all of this, there's all kinds of spontaneity and opportunities to improvise. These are the low-key secrets. These are the low-key mysteries. These are the fundamental mysteries, right? These are the things that people are seldom able to articulate to you, but they are the driving force of Orisha lifestyle. This is what really makes it go. If you have one pot or 20 pots, if you got one string of ileke, or you got 10 strings of ileke, you've got to have a practice, and you got to take care of that practice in order for that practice to take care of you. But it's a direct relationship. What you put in is what you're going to get out. Here in the School of Orisha Studies, in the Orisha Lifestyle Academy overall, the objective is to continually reveal to you and remind you of the virtue, the sweetness, the delicious, the delicious, sumptuous, tasty flavor of a practice. It's so good. It's so good. And the more you do it, the more you're going to enjoy it. And once you establish your practice, as soon as you are off, as soon as you miss a little bit, then you'll know. It'll be like brushing your teeth. No one's got to remind you. You know all by yourself that it has to get done quick. Sooner than later, I got to get back to my practice. So I want to urge you and urge you to continue to deepen your practice. Continue to take care of your practice so that your practice can take care of you. I pray that all is well and that you've heard and received this message. And if you have any questions, you need any further insights on what to do and how to do it, you know where to reach me, and I'll be more than happy to support you in every way possible. I look forward to continuing the journey. Bye for now. Wadabo.